what is going on? Welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. My name is Sean Zimi, and I am somebody who went from corporate America to an online gigpreneur. Who knew? My pancreas shut down, left me unemployable, nothing to fall back on. I got redirected to this whole online space, and now here we are. Now I help folks like you, like me, to start a business, a side gig online, and we use social media to grow it. How else would you grow it? If that resonates with you, if you like the idea of it being flexible, if you like it being, hey, this time of the year, you may want to add an extra source of income to you. Uh, you may like some extra money for whatever reason. Go to sidegigshawn.com and answer a couple of questions. I'll reach out. We'll have that conversation. What's up, PK? I know, right? This is a great time, actually. I'm not going to fall asleep on everyone. So, tonight I have an interesting topic. I haven't talked business for a while. I feel like I've been telling stories a lot more, but this is a good one, especially because it's Christmas, end of the year. People may not know this. Some people may not actually know this, which is kind of a surprise, but it's important to know. So, you may have an income. You may be working. You may have an income, but at the end of the year, if you're, especially if you're in the U.S. or Canada, you gotta pay what's called taxes, right? Who knows about taxes? Drop a one in the comments if you know taxes. Pretty sure you know. If you don't, we really gotta talk. Um, so you gotta pay taxes. Now you've already paid some income tax on your W-2s, but then at the end of the year you got to pay another tax, right? Which they call it double taxation, but that's a whole other conversation. But which means another little chunk of your income goes away if you're not careful, right? Now, you may say, okay, well, I have great income. I make 200,000 a year. I make 300,000 a year. Heck, I make a million a year. If you do, then you already know the story. But let's say you're in the 100, 200,000, and you kind of don't know this story. And here's what I share with you. It's not how much you make. I know you may find that surprising. It's not how much you make. It's how much you keep. You can make a whole heck of a lot of cash, but if you don't keep any, then you really made a lot. Um, Yo, girl, Lizzie, I see you on YouTube. A bunch of you on our YouTube. Hey, drop a comment so I know you're there, and consider subscribing and following and all that good stuff too. No matter what platform you're on. So it's not how much you make; it's actually how much you keep. Now, there are two types of expenses, right? There is what's called a personal expense. Those are the things that you spend on yourself. And there are something called business expense. Those are the expenses you spend on the business. Very good. So there's a big difference between the two, and I'd like to share a little snapshot with you because it is the end of the year. It's important how much you keep, not how much you make. So personal expenses are like everything that pretty much everything that you spend, like your clothes, let's say your accessories, your jewelry, your car, your home, your um, toothpaste, mouth rinse, your shampoo, your food, everything you spend is a personal expense. You have the lawn mowed by a service, that's a personal expense. Even though it doesn't seem like you're spending on yourself, but it's coming out of what? Your paycheck. You're paying for it, right? Nobody else is paying for it. You are paying for it. That makes it a personal expense. So if you are paying for it, if it's coming out of your own money that you have earned, then you're paying for it. Now, get this, you're paying for all these different personal expenses, but at the end, you're still paying taxes on your entire income. Doesn't matter what you spent on yourself. You made, let's say you made 60,000 that year, and you spent, I don't know, 30,000 on yourself and everything else, but you still pay taxes on 60,000 because that was your income, right? So what you're doing, everything that you're spending your money on, everything you're buying for yourself, your home, your pet, your spouse, your kids, your neighbor, all these things are personal expense and they're coming out of your paycheck. Now, there is something else called a business expense. A business expense is all the stuff that you spend for the business. For example, let's say you have a flower shop. Well, you kind of got to have the lights on, right? So that electricity is what? For the business, because it's not for your home, right? It's for the shop. So let's say you have, I don't know, a phone line, internet, refrigerator, a cutting room. You got the space, all these things, right, that go with a flower. You can tell I don't know much about owning a flower shop. All this stuff, and those are the things that what? Those are the expenses you got to spend for the business in order to keep the business what? Going. Do we agree or not? I mean, if you don't pay the phone bill, if you don't pay the internet bill, the electricity bill, you probably won't have a shop for too long. If you don't pay the rent, probably won't have a shop for too long, right? So those are the expenses you are paying for the business. Now, then there are, because there are two different types of expenses, you got personal expense and a business expense, you also have two different types of income under these brackets. Guess what they are? Personal income, business income, right? Now, personal income, we already talked about, it's your paycheck. Business income is what the business is making. Yes, you're one of the employees, you're one of the workers, you're one of the CEOs and OWGs and all this stuff. You may be the owner, right? And the janitor at the same time. Doesn't matter, but the business is making that more money. So business has an income. Now, in a business income situation, because the business also had some expenses, you get to subtract, or what they call deduct, your expenses from what the business made. And the difference is what you actually pay taxes on. So in this case, what happens is that you're keeping what? More of the money. Remember, in the beginning, we started by saying what? It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. So based on that, if the business has an income, then has all these expenses, you deduct that, and then the difference is what you pay taxes on. You pay taxes on less. For example, if the business had earned, let's say made 60,000, but let's say they had $40,000 worth of expenses, okay? So you take that 60, you subtract 40, and you end up with 20,000. Now you're paying taxes on 20,000. You got to keep that 40. Now, yes, that's a lot of expenses for a business like that, right? Now let's take that for the online business. What I help you start, a side gig, online business, right? Let's say um, you buy your for your personal stuff, you're buying, I don't know, toothpaste, mouth rinse, shampoo, conditioner, detergent, you're buying clothes, you're buying all this stuff, right? But have you ever bought your toothpaste and be in business? Have you thought about that? What? Have you bought a shampoo and then you're in business? When I say business, then you can have business income. You're like, no. You ever go to Walmart, Target, wherever you shop, and buy your shampoo, conditioner, buy your whatever, even from online, and you're like, I'm in business? No. That sounds silly, right? Or does it? See, you can buy your toothpaste, mouth rinse, shampoo, conditioner, detergent, and be in business online. And not only that, that business can produce money, business income. Not only that, you get to write off your entire product purchases off your income, the business income. Or because it's online, in a lot of cases, your personal income. Yes, even personal income. You can have a personal check, a W 2, a job that paid you $60,000. Now you have an online business. You're just buying your shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, and you're in business. Think about that. I want you to really expand your mind. And I want you to really think about that. How many times have you bought toothpaste and haven't been in business? That's how many times you could do it here online. It's very simple. How many times have you bought shampoo and have not been in business? How would you like to switch that around? Buy your shampoo and be in business. Now, does that mean you're going to make millions of dollars? That means it has the potential to. You got to be at it, right? But the fact that you have a full time job, a W 2, and you have an online business, you're buying your toothpaste, your mouth rinse, your shampoo, your conditioner, your detergent. And I'm not talking any specialty products. I'm not talking liquid collagen, the best stuff on earth. I'm not talking about plant based protein, the best stuff. I'm not talking about meology, your customized, personalized vitamin pack. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm not talking about the best protein shake on the planet earth. I'm talking about your shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste. You can even write up to $500 a month for your online business. That's $6,000 a year you get to keep from your hard-earned paycheck. And you didn't do anything crazy. You're just writing off half of your internet, your cell phone, half of it, all your products. Why are you able to do that? It's because you buy that toothpaste for an intent to make profit. How? Well, you use the toothpaste. Maybe somebody says, do you know a good toothpaste? And you may say, oh, I happen to know a very good toothpaste. Why do you ask? Well, I was thinking of going clean with my toothpaste. Well, I have a good toothpaste to recommend. I use it myself. You have an intention to build a business. You have an intention to have profit. That gives you green light to deduct, to run a business. You take a couple trips to convention, to training, you book a hotel, airfare. That's all with an intention, with an intent to what? Build a business. So it's 100% write off. You get to travel and have the business pay for it, which means the business keeps that money and pays less in taxes. See, some of you say, I'm very smart about money. I'm very careful what I buy, what I don't buy. And I ask you, well, how about six more $1,000 a year on stuff you're buying already? I mean, you know. So when you think about all the possibilities of, tax write-offs and, the differences, I want you to pay really good attention and be educated on how you can keep more of your money. At the same time, try to increase your income. However, you want to keep more. You don't want to make more and then pay more. That would be silly. If there are ways you can keep more, then you should practice those, right? So listen, a lot of things, 100% of things, arguably, that you're paying for right now are coming out of your paycheck, which means you already paid taxes on it. They're coming out of your paycheck. And at the end of the year, you still pay taxes on what you earned. Versus having a business, an online gig, you could have purchased the same products, have the same internet, phone, but write off up to $500 a month, which means you get to, it's like you got a $500 raise a month, which means you literally get to keep 500 more a month of your money. What would that mean if you got $500 raise a month? Think about that, right? So be wise. Listen, you may not think, oh, I want to be this. I don't want to promote this. I don't want to sell that. I don't want to. That's great. Then enjoy paying taxes on everything and wasting that money. Really, truly. And I don't mean it like in a weird way. I mean, that's what you get. That's what we have been doing. That's what we've been trained and educated to do. Nobody comes to us and says, by the way, you could do this, and keep more of your money. Who does that? No, right? So I want you to pay really attention to this stuff because this stuff is important. Personal income, business income. Personal expense, business expense, right? The business expense, you get to deduct that from your business income and keep more of your money. So with that, hopefully you guys got some love, some inspiration, some value. I appreciate you. Drop your thoughts, your comments, your feedback below. Let this feed grow. You can follow me on all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Threads. I go with Side Gig Sean. I am Sean Azimi. I'm somebody who went from corporate America to online gigpreneur. Didn't do it by choice. My pancreas shut down, left me unemployable with nothing to fall back on. And I hit rock bottom pretty hard. Now I help folks like you, like me, to start a side business, a side gig online, and we grow it using social media. That resonates with you. You like that idea. You like it being flexible. Go to sidegigsean.com, answer a couple questions. I'll reach out. We'll have that conversation. I'm signing off until tomorrow when we do it all over again. Much love.